Hello everyone, I'm Simin from Arts Management Department, Gachong University, Korea. Today, the topic of my presentation is research on traditional villages tourism resources analysis based on GIS, a case study on Zichuan district, Zibo city, Shandong province, China. The background of this research is as follows. First, traditional villages implied a long-standing and abounding cultural background, and its unique nature and culture attracted countless passing tourists. Second, with the development of social economy and the advancement of urbanization, the area of towns are on the increase and the area of rural villages in China dwindles, which make rural villages present a backward and old state. The young labor force moves to urban cities with much empty land and unused houses. Problems such as poor villages, low living standards, arbitrarily enclosing land, and destroying the natural environment greatly limit the development of rural villages. Third, as a form of village, traditional villages possesses plentiful culture and nature resources. Rich historical information and cultural buildings, long-standing farming culture, beautiful natural landscape, unique regional culture are unique treasures. Fourth, studying and developing the traditional villages are of great value to human beings. Protecting and developing the traditional villages are the need to ensure the diversity of Chinese traditional culture as well as the need for the revitalization strategy and modernization of villages in China. Developing ecotourism is one of the important ways to develop traditional villages while protecting the ecological environment and protecting the lives of local people. Local characteristic tourism should be developed to promote the development of local economy. The research method and range of this paper. Firstly, through consulting the relevant literatures, this paper presented a comprehensive and meticulous understanding of GIS technology, Zichuan district, ecotourism, tourism resources, regional integration, and so on. Then through survey and investigation of Zichuan, the current situation of traditional villages can be understood, including natural, ecological environment, traditional folk, characteristic culture, and so on, as well as Zichuan natural resources, characteristic buildings and their geographic location, and then the relative picture and text data were recorded and summarized. The research ideas were determined, thus providing the theoretical data preparing for the research content. In combination with the collected data and references, aiming at the distribution and types of tourism resources in traditional villages in Zichuan. GIS software was used to summarize and classify their tourism resources. Qualitative and quantitative analysis method, nearest neighbor index analysis method, and connectivity analysis method were also used to analyze them, and the spatial characteristics of tourism resources and traffic spatial characteristics were summarized. These are overseas studies, including the beginning of the 20th century's Europe and the United States, the 1980s France and British. In 1991, Barry used GIS to plan a primitive island in the United States, which was the earliest case of GIS application in tourism planning. At present, Europe and the United States have rich experience in protecting and developing the traditional villages. They limited protected areas, established many regions and international organizations, and gradually expanded the protection subject from national scholars to people individuals, providing ideas and methods for other regions and countries to develop and protect traditional villages. Studies in China. The study of integration of protection and development of ancient villages in China into tourism has undergone three phases. The years from 1990 to 1996 were regarded as the inception phase. The years from 1997 to 2001 were regarded as the initial phase. The years from 2002 to now were regarded as the development phase. In recent years, with the in-depth study of traditional villages, the value of traditional villages has been continuously excavated, and the tourism resources of traditional villages have become one of the important ways for their development. Spatial analysis on tourism resources. First of all, is about traditional villages tourism resources in Zichuan, which includes qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. Most of villages in Zichuan are distributed in the spring areas of each town or in the mountainous area restricted by terrain, and the traditional villages are also distributed in the western, eastern, and southeast regions. The scenic spots in Zichuan are rich in the varieties and large in quantities, with their own characteristics of folk customs, specialties, old sites of celebrities, and places of interest, while the beautiful scenery and cultural sites in the traditional villages are rarely known by people. The simple folk style, the preservation of complete ancient buildings and ancient trees with a long history are precious treasures. The naturally formed scenery and landscape, the cultural relics left by celebrity heroes have both visual impact and spiritual enrichment, possessing great development potential. In quantitative analysis part, please look at the process which is shown in this page. The nearest neighbor index was used to carry out this spatial analysis on each village, and the distance between the closest point and the point was used to describe the distribution. First, calculate the distance from any point to its nearest neighbor. Second, calculate the average nearest neighbor distance of point-like things. Third, calculate nearest neighbor index. The resulting R values are compared to figure 1 and compared to 1 to obtain the agglomeration and distribution status of regions. And this calculated process indicates that the traditional villages distribution in Zichuan had a tendency of agglomeration. To sum up, due to topography and other factors, each traditional villages have its resource distribution have a tendency of agglomeration, but the overall distribution is relatively scattered, but relatively concerned in small areas. They are rich in spaces with its own characteristics. Then is about spatial analysis of road in Zichuan district. The traditional villages and routes in Zichuan were used to make topological structure, and alpha and beta indicates were used for connectivity analysis, that is, the connection level and unlocking degree of the traffic network in this area were calculated. In summary, due to the special terrain around the mountains and waters, the road network line is limited, resulting in a common degree of connection in the Zichuan area. The road is relatively single. It would be time consuming and labor intensive for tourists to visit the whole area, but much more convenient if the individual area was targeted. Okay, the next part, I'd like to talk about regional integration and development of tourism resources in Zichuan. First, let's have a look at regional integration of tourism village in Zichuan. Zichuan district is wide. There are lots of villages, and the development process of each village is different. The development of traditional villages is inseparable from the driving force of surrounding villages and towns. In order to design the integration area of tourism villages in Zichuan, it's necessary to break up the traditional villages into the parts according to the spatial analysis and road analysis of tourism resources. At the same time, combining with the situation of surrounding villages and towns, it is also necessary to divide them into different regions for regional integration of tourism resources, which can effectively use the situation of traffic and village dispersion caused by mountains and rivers to form different tourism areas with regional characteristics, and thus promoting the economic development of each village. There are three aspects of principle for regional integration of tourism villages in Zichuan. First, pay attention to both conservation and development. For the development of various resources, the ultimate purpose is to bring economic benefits, promote the development of social economy without destroying the foundation of resources at the same time, so that resources can be used sustainably, especially the special resources bearing history and culture, such as traditional villages and site relics, and the natural formation landscapes, such as mountains and waters. Second, Zichuan district contains a variety of different tourism resources, and the development of tourism resources is different, including many famous scenic spots. These scenic spots have a great impetus function that can drive the development of scattered villages around, so that the surrounding towns drive the development of villages. They can use the experience of one point to lead the whole area, so as to drive the development of the entire town in a form of region. Third, tourist sites with distinctive characteristics can often attract tourists to visit. Tourists visit not only the diversity of tourist resources in tourist sites, but also attach great importance to the characteristics of tourist sites. These characteristics are often impressive and forgettable. The integration of tourist villages are required to present these regional characteristics. According to the above analysis and in combination with the overall planning of local villages and towns, the division and integration areas are shown in the table below. According to above, now let's talk about the suggestions on regional road of tourism villages integration in Zichuan. The integration of Zichuan district is divided into 5 areas as shown in this picture. In each integration area, because of the special terrain surrounded by mountains, the internal roads of some areas are single and the road connection degree is low, resulting in some areas requiring tourists to take a lot of repeated roads. This needs to plan the reasonable and necessary roads according to the distribution of transportation roads in each region, as well as the distribution of tourism resources and villages. The main roads between regions are obvious and convenient. According to the arrow in this picture, it points to the movement between regions. The cars are the main transportation vehicles. Inside each region, the main roads are predominant, and the tourists are predominantly walking in turn making sightseeing. For example, take number 1 as a starting point, drive take 510 Provincial Road, 231 Provincial Road to number 3. It takes at least 40 minutes. From number 3, drive take 006 County Road, 007 County Road to number 5. It takes at least 20 minutes. From number 5, drive take Xinbo Road to the north, take Zizhong Road to number 4. It takes at least 30 minutes. From number 4 drive, take Zichuan Road, 006 County Road to number 3, it takes at least half an hour. From number 3 drive, take Zichuan Road, Chongzheng Road to number 2, it takes at least 20 minutes. Among them, tourism sites and travel routes can be freely selected and designed within each area. Here I have some suggestions on tourism village development in Zichuan district. First, there are so many villages in Zichuan district and it is difficult for them to develop independently. They need the help and support of surrounding villages and towns to develop together in the form of small regions. Second, the road connection situation is not that good. It is restricted by topographic factors. It is necessary to design a reasonable road network, enrich tourist movement routes, strengthen the connection degree of each tourist village, and repair damaged roads in a timely manner. Third, the government, villages, and towns should work together, refer to successful cases, use resource scientifically and regionally. Fourth, should build characteristic tourism village, attract foreign talents, encourage talents to return to villages for construction, maintain site relics in a timely manner, and conduct the restoration of damaged resource in a scientific and rational manner. Fifth, whether in the development process or when tourists visit, attention should be paid to the protection of natural environment so as to develop in the protection and protect in the development. In this paper, the following main conclusions have been reached. First, there are varieties and large quantities of scenic spots in Zichuan. The cultural sites in the region are distinct. The folk style is simple, and the ancient buildings are completely preserved. The traditional villages appear cluster distribution in space. Traditional villages present a clustered distribution in space as a whole. Second, the existing roads in Zichuan are mainly affected by topographic conditions, and the degree of road connection in the region is common, and the road is relatively single. Third, the traditional villages in Zichuan should be integrated according to 5 regions. Fourth, there are many traditional villages in Zichuan, and all villages should make full use of their respective resource endowment and develop together in the form of small regions. In this study, the provincial traditional villages in Zichuan, Zibo City, China, was taken as the research object. A systematic analysis of its spatial pattern was conducted, and suggestions for regional integration and development of traditional villages were put forward, which provided a scientific basis for activation of traditional villages in Zichuan and building a Shandong style model for rural revitalization in Shandong province, China. This is my presentation. Thank you for listening.